Hello, and welcome back to the Spoilercast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusted co-host, Rebecca.
Hello!
Hello! And today we're talking about, something that was really anticipated, but as the closer we got to now, really, felt like it was kind of disappearing a little bit. So
took too long to get to the screen or something. I don't know.
I think so. So now, we're in a precarious situation. But I guess we have to talk about Joker, Folie, Deux.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's the sequel to the 2019 Oscar-winning dark drama Joker.
I forgot that won an Oscar.
Was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Which,
But it was Phoenix who won, right?
Yes, and deservedly so, I would say.
Sure. Yes.
It's really
definitely.
good in that role. And once again, this movie is starring. I almost call him Jacqueline. What's his name? Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, but also, of course, Lady Gaga. Brendan Gleeson, I don't know, some other people, but I guess mostly them. Catherine Keener.
Yeah.
It's the story of Arthur Fleck, now institutionalized because of his crimes in the first movie, and him awaiting trial, kind of being, the high he had from the end of the last one is kind of dissipated, so he's back to his old depressed, mentally unstable self.
Yeah. Back to being Arthur.
Yes. Until he meets a lady who, seems to appreciate him for who he really is,
Yeah. In a way.
To bring out the Joker in him.
Yeah.
That's Lady Gaga's character. And hilarity ensues.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So, as we always do, what did you think of Joker, Folie, Deux?
As a sequel, I didn't like it.
Okay.
As a movie, it was fine.
Yeah.
There's definitely parts of it that are amazing, like the cinematography and the acting for most parts. Like, visually, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And a lot of it is good, but when it comes to like the story and what it's actually about, I'm not sure it hit the same mark.
No.
Especially not if you're comparing it to the prequel, which is unfortunately a thing you do with sequels.
Yes.
But even on its own, it's not really hitting what it's supposed to do, I think. Not really.
No, I agree.
So it's a little bit of, it's good, but it's not as good as I wanted it to be.
Would you call it a mixed bag?
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To put it in short terms. What did you think?
I, like you, I like parts of it. I like a lot of it, but there are some definite problems. Which may or may not, after having thought about it, because we saw it yesterday, might be intentional.
Yeah, I know. I've realized some of that too.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm wondering if Todd Phillips, who directed and wrote the last one, and directed and wrote this one, together with Scott Silver, I'm wondering if he's had maybe not a change of heart from, his comments during the press tour for the last one, but maybe, realized that what he was going for in the first one got kind of, the message got kind of lost in the shuffle of everything, of where the world was at the point. So this one he's like trying to undo it almost.
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
It could also be a little bit of a jab against the people who made him make a sequel.
That too. Yeah, so there is a lot I like about it. I usually don't like musicals.
No.
But I liked the musical
aspects. or insertions
sequences in this one, which is kind of funny because I saw a lot of people online saying that the musical numbers are the worst in this, and I'm like, maybe that's why I like it, because I don't like musicals. This is like an anti-musical.
Some people, oh god, my eyes are itchy. Some people said the musical scenes kind of felt cut in between to like distract, almost like commercials. Which I'm not sure I agree. They did have a point.
I think they're very. It's very obvious why they're there.
Yeah,
it's him dreaming. It's him. It's him. It's what's going on in his brain. Really, we get a very we get to actually see what's going on in his head.
Yeah. That's the way he sees the world at the moment.
Yeah, and that's why they become very animated the further we go into it, and then they kind of lose. Towards the end, they're back to just being him standing in a room singing, without any fanfare or anything. That works. Where this movie falls, because I agree with you. I think he's good. Maybe not as good as in the first movie, but he's good. Joaquin Phoenix, that is.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is good. I think she's really good sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography is good. The music is good. Once again, what was her name? Gudnadottir, whatever her name is. Jonna something.
The music? I don't know.
Yeah, all of that, just like the last time, it's good but not as good. This is like how sequels... Hildur, right, sorry. This is how sequels used to be. There was the law of diminishing returns. Like, it's not going to be as good. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be a bigger thing. We have musical numbers and more stars, but it's not going to be as good because you had that
the soul.
Exactly, because you had that the first one. It was not perfect, but it was perfect, and now you're ruining it because you're trying to recreate that magic.
Yeah. You water it down.
Yeah,
with adding more stuff. Basically.
Yeah, and this, on a story level, on a plot level, does not really add anything to Arthur as a character.
No.
It's sort of like, it's almost like closing a loop. He's going back to where he was, and at the end you're just like, okay, well, what's the point, really? On a thematic level, on a story level, there's stuff going on, but I'm not sure it's the best thing to do with this kind of story or this.
Someone said, I don't remember who. I watched a few videos just to get what other people thought about it. Someone said it felt like a epilogue that could have been just 30 minutes long, added to the first movie.
Sure, yeah,
kind of. A little bit.
Yeah.
But then we would have cut out the entirety of Lady Gaga, obviously. She didn't need to be there if it was just an epilogue.
Yeah. No,
she was good again, but I think she needed more to be able to actually express herself properly, because she mainly did it through song or very short dialogue.
I don't know what more we could get out of her character.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
It just felt like either you put her in more or you don't put her in at all.
But why would you put her in more? What would she do? What could you add?
Not sure, which is why I don't write movies.
But why do you think you needed more?
No, I just feel like this amount was a weird amount. Either put more or just do less or nothing. They could have redacted her as well. We didn't need her, really.
But then there would be no driving force in the movie. She
could be the Joker being the driving force.
But what would it be that that's the thing with this movie. It's essentially a love story. Because, like we said, Arthur, this is not spoilers. It's the very beginning of the movie. It's before everything gets started. Like we said, he's back to being, depressed, very introverted, shut into his body, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's not the Joker anymore. But then he meets Lady Gaga's character, Lee. Harleen Quinzel. Yeah. I mean, everyone knows that.
Obviously.
And in the trailer you see, she kind of she's like one of those people in the end of the last one, and in this movie, they're like, yeah, Joker, he shook up the establishment, he is the voice of the people, blah blah blah. But but in a more intimate...
She's a fangirl.
Yeah, she's a fangirl, or she's someone who truly believes in his cause, so to speak. Even though he didn't really have a cause, but all he really sees is, oh, she likes me for who I am.
Yeah.
So he falls in love with her. Without that, we needed that catalyst to get the movie going. Like it couldn't just come out of nowhere. Like, no, now I am gonna be happy. I'm gonna be Joker again. Like, but why? Because of the trial?
Yeah, maybe.
But he didn't care.
You had the trial, you had interviews and stuff. Maybe that could have brought out that again. I don't know.
No, that wouldn't work.
I guess not.
Yeah, you needed the catalyst. You needed a catalyst, and that was Harleen Quinzel.
I mean, I really liked her character, but I felt like there wasn't enough to her then.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying she was very like expertly written or anything, but plot wise, like you couldn't do much more with her character without seriously extending the film and like going into why she's doing the things she's doing. But that's not the point.
No, the risk is that that's the next movie.
There's not going to be another movie.
Thank God for that.
That I mean, you can kind of guess because what they're going to do a Harley. What the fuck is her name? Harley Quinn movie? Like, no.
Hope not.
No, because because in the Joker movies, Arthur that's the character. There is no one else. It's not about anyone else. Everyone else is just side players.
I'm just thinking about because of what happens in the end.
No. That would be sure. Todd Phillips might not be the greatest author of all time, but judging from the movies he's made, and this one and Joker, he's not even that dumb.
No, this movie shouldn't have been made though. So
no, it wouldn't have been. But we'll get into why I think it exists later when we get into spoilers. But sure. I mean, this was a bit of a cash grab, but at least they try to do something. To do a Harley, what the fuck is her name? Harley Quinn. Yeah, but it's not. I don't want to say Harley Quinn. It's Harley Quinn. It's two names. Whatever. That would be the dumbest thing ever. It would be the most shallow, pointless. It would just turn into other comic book movies, which they're really trying not to be. They're trying so hard not to be a quote unquote comic book movie. They're not. Sure. They're trying so hard not to be a Marvel movie. Yeah,
I know.
So doing that, then we'll explore her. Like, no, there's nothing to explore.
I hope they don't.
No, they won't. They can't. I mean, they can, but they won't.
Yeah. Okay.
And especially since this movie is kind of not bombing, but it's not doing very well.
It's not doing as well as they thought. No.
Yeah. So no, and then there's other stuff. There's been interviews. Todd Phillips is out. He said that these are the two movies he wanted to tell. That's it.
Okay, that's good.
So, no. Don't even entertain the thought. You're making me angry, Rebecca. Jesus Christ. That would just go against everything that these two movies were trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, so overall, yeah, it feels a bit forced. Like I said, there's things to enjoy about it, but sure. in the end, it's an unnecessary sequel.
Yes.
Especially with what happens later in the movie, and I think we're gonna have to discuss specifics in order to actually get somewhere. So yeah, we're at 14 minutes now, little shorter, non-spoiler stuff, but
yeah.
You gotta discuss spoilers to discuss what the problems with this movie is.
You gotta discuss spoilers in general just to be able to talk about this movie, because I feel like it's hard to talk about the movie as it is without actually talking about the plot points and everything that happens in it. Because it's a pretty picture. It looks pretty just the way the original does. The acting is, for the most part, as good. Joaquin Phoenix doesn't have, I guess, not as much of the emotional range because he doesn't have to in this case for some reason.
Yeah.
For some reasons. There are, like we said, some unnecessary stuff. There's one scene that I just don't get at all, but it's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. Yeah. Overall, it's pretty good, I guess, but it's totally unnecessary.
Yes. I'll say this, though. once again trying to be like going against the grain when it comes to mainstream, big blockbuster movies, which this is.
Sure.
More so than the first one. This is like 100% character driven. There is no like there's not a lot in the first one, but there's even less here. Like there's no action scenes. There's no violence really, other than some implied violence. But I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah.
So, it's really just exploring Arthur's character and dialogue. So bit of fresh air there when it comes to mainstream movies. But that's not enough to carry it all the way. But I just wanted to mention that
Yeah.
I'd rather watch this again than like Captain America: Civil War. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, but
there was more substance.
there is more to it than that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, but no, they don't. It's just that movie's just punching the movie. That's what it
exactly.
is. like Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. Like, oh my god.
Any of those movies in general.
That's 2 years ago. I still think about that movie from time to time. Just get like annoyed at how dumb that movie is.
I deleted it from my brain. It sucked so much.
It's so dumb. So dumb. This at least isn't dumb.
No, it's not. It's not dumb. It's could have been more. That's the only thing.
It's not super smart either, but it's not dumb.
No.
But that's
and
it.
now we're over 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so
that's it. So if you like the first one, you might not like this one.
No. Depending on for why you like the first
exactly.
one, I guess.
But I still give it a shot because there is things to enjoy or appreciate about it.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say. But from now on, spoilers. Spoilers. You have been warned. Spoilers.
So
now, when they kill Arthur Fleck in the end, yeah, yes, I could do it again properly. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that might have been the worst ending I've seen in a movie in a long time.
I have two reasons. There's yes, I agree. It's terrible. It's stupid. But I also feel like there might be a really good point to it.
Yeah, we discussed it briefly yesterday. Or have you
but
reached
that point
else?
might also be
Something
a
else?
dumb point.
Okay. Yeah.
So the good aspect.
We got to discuss it first. We got to discuss. So,
yes.
So what happens is his spark is lit once again by Harleen.
Lee.
Yeah. And she wants to bring out the Joker in him. There's this whole thing about them, his lawyer and his doctor trying to get him certified as schizophrenic, saying that there's two parts,
Clean
there's
insanity,
two people in him.
basically.
Yeah, so that he can be let out and led into a proper hospital because now he's in Arkham, I suppose.
Yes, it's Arkham.
Yeah, it's the prison for criminally insane, but they don't try to. They don't try to rehabilitate you there. It's just to keep you
they
locked
just
up.
drug you and keep you there.
Yeah, so they want to put him in a proper mental institute.
Yeah,
so that's what the whole thing is. Yeah, and he's kind of struggling because when he starts, getting these feelings again, when Harleen shows up, I think because in the beginning, I don't think he's really sure of who is the real him. Is it the Joker? Is it Arthur? But then he starts leaning more towards Joker, of course.
Yeah, because she encourages it.
Yeah. But then at some point, for no real reason, he starts questioning, wait, is Joker really who I am? Or am I actually Arthur? And I don't remember why.
The reason is that his lawyer points out that Harleen is most likely, or is technically, lying to him, which makes him question, well, is anything she says true then? But am I the Joker?
But he gets over that when they talk about it. I mean,
but they show in that sequence where they have the show in his head, and she shoots him. I don't remember.
Shoots him.
That he obviously still has doubts.
Yes,
because that shows up after he has let go of it and is still madly in love with her.
Yeah, but then they meet up and he's like, why did you lie to me? Your parents aren't actually dead. And she's like, yeah, but it got your attention. I'm sorry about lying, but whatever. And then they still kiss. They're still fine.
Yeah.
And I don't.
But she never answers the question about the baby, and he does look a little bit like, well,
no,
it's very vague.
You know where it is? It's when he when they're in court and he fires his lawyer and starts representing himself, which was like, oh, it's so dumb. And he starts doing his, I'm just a simple country lawyer, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And then it should have. He did that in the entire scene, which was dumb, but I liked it in the beginning, mainly because that's like a running gag for a few years on Comtown. It's like, I'm just a simple country faggot, Your Honor. And it was like, so it was funny to hear that. Anyway, but he did it for the entire scene, which was annoying.
You should have stopped.
He should have stopped.
Gone just
he does
Joker.
towards the end when he kind of loses control. He's like, I'm done with this now. I'm going to sit down again. Then he loses it. But whatever. It's when he interrogates the last witness that Harvey Dent has to. Ooh, they introduced Harvey Dent in this too. Yeah. They started like expanding the world into like, and I was like, no, stop it.
We'll get to
even
that.
more later. Yeah. It's when they interview the last witness, which is
Mr.
Puddles, Gary Puddles, from the little guy from the last movie, the midget,
the one he spares.
Yeah, I don't know. Little person, midget. I know Wee Man, which is my favorite. He prefers midget. He thinks it's degrading to call him little person, so I don't know. Midget, little person, whatever. The guy, Gary Puddles, played by, what's his name? Lee Gill.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the clowns in the last movie. He worked with Arthur.
Yeah, who worked with Arthur.
He spares his life when he kills that other clown in his house.
Something.
Helfenkeller, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, there's a long name, I don't remember.
Anyway,
they talk about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah. And he talks about, I saw him kill, our work friend, whatever. Yeah. And then when Arthur gets to question him, he's like, but I spared you. So you didn't have to be worried. Like, I would never hurt you because you're not a bad person.
Yeah.
And Gary's like, but that doesn't matter. You still killed someone. Like, yeah, he wasn't like a nice guy, but he didn't deserve to die or get stabbed to death.
In the eye, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and you did it right in front of my face. I've never been so scared in my life. I still have nightmares about it, he says. I cry every day. I can't work anymore. His life is ruined. And I think it's there when he realizes that his actions have consequences.
Yes, that's true. That also is one of them, because he never
after that he's just
saw someone who suffered from his actions before. Yeah, this is the first time he's face to face to. He
really thought like, well, I'm just hurting bad people, the fucking frat boys are just harassing the lady on the train, or this asshole clown I work with, or the fucking mayor, or not mayor, but Thomas Wayne, who's he's a rich guy who wants to calls all us little people, little in not stature, but socioeconomically standing, he calls us clowns. Maybe he should die and all that. And now, really before
Murray,
that,
who laughed at him, I guess.
Yeah, and even before that,
fun of him.
But it doesn't have as strong of an impact on him, I think, as what's her name, Zazie Beetz' character, Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie.
Whom he thought was his girlfriend in the first movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
She talks about, we never really interacted other than that time he walked into my apartment and I feared for my life. And that's when he says, like, enough of this, I can't handle this anymore. That's when he says that. And can we stop this? But I don't...
Wasn't that when he talked with Gary Puddles that he did that?
Nope. That's when he's still sitting down and she's being interviewed or questioned by Harvey Dent and then his lawyer.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's the first time he realizes the consequences of his actions. Yeah. And that makes him like, maybe Joker isn't such a cool guy.
He finally hears from someone else that everything he's believed his entire life is actually, like, it's not from people in the institute, it's not from people in prison. He's hearing it from someone outside and has talked to his mom about it. Yeah. That everything he believed about his childhood is a lie.
No, it's true.
But the thing he believed that he was the thing that his mom told him. Oh, we were put in this world to make people happy. That's why I call you happy.
He already found that out. That's why he killed his mom in the first movie.
Yeah, but he doesn't heard it from someone else in that way. When she says it, and she's like, but his mom called him insane and like stupid and all that stuff. That's when he kind of goes, yeah, I don't like this. You're not painting me in a good way.
I didn't read the scene that way.
No,
I just saw that as an reinforcement of him when he finds out he's been lied to his entire life. In the first movie when he reads the file.
I think this brings it up
because him being physically and sexually abused, that doesn't make him a bad guy.
No, God no.
No, that's what you just think. It's like, oh, maybe I'm not such a good guy. What do you mean he's not? What? Why? No, but
the lies that he's been lied to.
But he already knew he was being lied to. That's why he killed his mom. I don't understand what you mean.
But it's like he forgot about that when he was after that.
All right, I disagree, but okay, whatever. But yeah, so he wants to be Arthur again. Not that that's much better, because Arthur is this meek, worthless person, who has to live with horrible trauma. But at least, Arthur didn't hurt anyone. I guess that's his rationale. Joker hurt people, Arthur didn't. But
he does somehow think that Lee will still be with him, because
he. Well, that kind of leads into the whole thing, like we talk about. Maybe he has a split personality, because I don't think he can quite separate Joker and Arthur.
No,
I think that's the thing. So he thinks that she likes me for me, and me is Arthur. I am Arthur.
Yeah.
But of course, she just likes the Joker, the sensationalist guy.
Yeah.
So she kind of she leaves him, and he's like, "What?"
They all kind of leave him, which is where he actually breaks down.
Yeah.
When he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm not gonna do this anymore," and everyone's like, "What? You're not gonna be our symbol anymore?"
Yeah, people start walking, which is once again kind of what he was talking about in the first movie. Like this was never a movement.
Yeah.
I wasn't making a statement when I was killing them. I just killed them because they were awful. You're awful, Murray. Yeah, it's kind of
which might be what this movie is trying to tell us.
Yes, I was trying to segue into that, because I had the idea, because then in the movie, Harleen leaves him. All his fans, or most of his fans, seem to like, okay.
The ones who made their way into the courthouse, at least.
Yeah, and then he's back in the asylum, and all the inmates are laughing at him again, or like, oh yeah, great work, Arthur. Like, you ruined everything, basically, because they were all on board with him, being the Joker again. Whenever everyone starts dancing and rioting in the mess hall. But I also think that maybe he's fine with it. Like, he doesn't have Harleen anymore, but at least he doesn't have he's not Joker, at least.
Yeah.
Oh. But then, before that, really, sorry, they blow up the courtroom, and he escapes, but then realizes, like, I don't want to. He gets help from the Joker mask guys, and he's like, I don't want this. He just runs away. So they catch up. That's when he talks to Harleen, and she's like, nope, you're not the Joker. I don't want to be with you. Bye bye. We have nothing.
Yeah, but that's after they all walk out on him.
Yeah, after the courthouse blows up, and that's when they catch him, because he just stands in the staircase, and they grab him. And he comes back, and he's like, back to being a joke, back to being, nobody likes him anymore.
Little
Arthur. And then there's the guy, they say you have a visitor. We never get to know who the visitor is. I kind of like that. Like, maybe she's coming back. I think that's what he's like, oh, maybe she won't she'll come back, because she actually loves me. But then there's the other inmate who's like, hey, Arthur, so I got a joke for you. And he's like, okay. Yeah.
Now this scene is both partially the worst thing that happens in this movie, and also partially the best thing that happens in this movie.
yeah, I can agree with that. But I think I remember the joke. It's a psychopath walks into a bar, and he sees a clown sitting at the bar, smoking a cigarette, having a drink. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite clown. let me buy you a drink. So what can I,
It's like, yeah, sure, you can buy me a drink. So what do you want?
No, and he says like, oh, if you're buying, you can get me anything. And he's like, sure, I'll get you what you fucking deserve. And then he stabs him like 6 times in the stomach. Arthur falls down, blood everywhere. The guy behind him starts maniacally laughing and then cuts his face up. Yeah, in a Chelsea smile, as they call it.
Yeah.
And Arthur dies. And that's the end of the movie. And I was like, oh no. At that moment, I was like, that is a terrible ending for who, in this movie, even though we talked about it as well, he was not a sympathetic character. He was a sympathetic character until he started murdering people in the first movie.
Yes.
And that's kind of what's interesting about that movie. It questions you to like, why are you cheering for a psychopathic murderer?
Yeah.
Sure, like his whole thing about like standing up for the little guy. Yeah, sure, good, but he still murdered 6 people.
Yeah, like
in cold blood.
Is it excusable just because?
Yeah. And is he actually a good symbol, for maybe as a symbol, but like
rebellion, I suppose.
Look at the character behind the symbol. It's not good. He's definitely more sympathetic in this.
Yes,
because he seems. Well, yeah.
First of all, he doesn't kill anyone.
He doesn't kill anyone. Yeah, and the further the movie goes on, it feels like that's why he doesn't want to be the Joker in the end. He feels like he feels remorseful for what he did.
Yeah, I mean, he even admits to the 6th person.
Yeah, exactly.
Which no one
His
knew
mom,
about.
Yeah. So it's almost like they want to redeem him, and at least maybe end it like he's back in prison. He's probably going to get executed because. That's what the trial was about. And yeah, it got postponed because of the explosion. But they're gonna. It's not like then it's over. No, they're gonna bring up. And yeah, he was guilty, so they're gonna.
Because they had time to read up two or three. What's it called?
The whatever
verdicts.
Yeah, exactly. And he was guilty on all accounts.
Yeah, and they said he was guilty on both of them.
Yeah.
for different
murder in first and murder in second degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least then he is, on a spiritual level, so to speak, redeemed, and then he takes his punishment, so to speak, which would end his character on a positive note, so to speak, very darkly, but still positive note.
Yeah.
And especially if we find out that, it was Harley coming to talk to him, and, maybe she's like, you know what, I do actually love you, because, that would be kind of nice.
It would be, but that would never happen, really.
What?
Based on the character she was.
You don't know. She could,
She showed nowhere did she show any affection for Arthur.
Well, it's Schrodinger's Harley, so we'll never know.
No, it's true.
So in my mind, it could have been that. But instead, they kill him.
Yes.
And he's just like, what? And then... sneakily, not so sneakily, but sneakily introduces another Joker.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? What is this madness? It's so dumb. And it's to the point where we were discussing, we didn't want to talk, we try to limit our discussion before we actually do the podcast, but I just had to talk about that. And then it almost felt like Todd Phillips... Yeah, trying to punish people who revered Joker in the first movie.
Idolized.
Yeah, because he became sort of a symbol for social uprising and everything. Because right after this movie, the next summer, this came out in October, late summer 2019,
something like that. Yeah,
that's when we had the 2020 riots.
That's
for
true.
a lot of reasons, but
sure.
The Derek Chauvin cop guy who murdered the guy. That's kind of where it started. That's where it boiled over, But then it became, protests about everything, basically. Because we were also kind of cooped up there. Summer 2020 was the height of the pandemic.
COVID.
Yeah. And there was, hundreds of pictures online, thousands of pictures of people in Joker makeup, but in a positive light. So they kind of took the positive aspect of the message of the movie and kind of turning it into something good. Yeah. Which is like, okay, that's cool. And the movie is really like it's trying to say like we can't just keep like pushing down the little guy, because this is people who are mentally ill, people who are impoverished, people who doesn't have any like prospects in life, because eventually they will, like he says, he will werewolf, as he says in the first movie.
Yeah,
that aspect of the first movie is good, but I think they also want to then make it a cautionary tale, like but be careful who you idolize, because in this case you're idolizing a psychopathic murderer. It's a little bit of a mixed message, and I think that's what people didn't like about it. I think I thought it was a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
But allow
unfortunately,
a lot of more.
The sequel doesn't have that same kind of.
No, because now it feels like Todd Phillips is just like, no, I was wrong. Joker
like, that's
is
not
bad.
what I meant.
Yeah, that's not what I meant, even though we know that's what he meant, because that's what he kept talking about in interviews. Now it's almost like, I got a bunch of backlash, and people called it like, like an incel uprising movie, or like fucking white supremacy, like entitled white men uprising, blah, blah, blah. Which is just, first of all, that's...
Where was the entitled white men in this movie that like
well,
got
Arthur
good out of it?
was entitled and white, so that makes him...
How was he entitled? He is one of the minorities.
Because
mentally
but
ill.
he expects people to help him. He doesn't get the medicine he needs. He doesn't get the help he needs. He should be a star. He should be on TV. People read it that way because they don't.
Oh my god!
Yes, there was the whole white male rage thing. You don't remember that sketch? The SNL did? No, yeah.
Kind of blocked that shit out. To be honest,
awful take on the movie, because that's a classic. Like, well, we don't want to champion something that could be like remotely problematic, so we'll just call it. Oh no, it's racist. Oh, it's an incel terrorist movie. Like,
if anything, this is showing like how mental illness is something that is being disregarded as something that needs to be treated.
But they didn't want to give the movie that, because of the fact that a lot of 4chaners liked the movie. Yeah, no,
because I think
it's
that
all
part
politics
is still...
to these kind of people. They can't look beyond their politics. Like, those people that I don't agree with like the movie. That means I can't like the movie, even though it's like
you can like it for different reasons, dumbass.
Yes. And I mean, the movie is, they wanted to paint as some sort of like right-wing fantasy, power fantasy. It's so far from right-wing, it's uber left-wing if you want to think about it. Because it's all about like power to the people.
I thought right-wing people would be like, why would we champion a fucking mentally ill dude?
Yeah, but instead they took to him.
He's weak, which I don't care.
Yeah, which was the height of insanity of the political discourse at that time. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was all around, not all around, but a lot was around a movie. But yeah, that was how crazy it became. So that's why that quote is so good in the beginning of the movie. That's why I used it in my review of the movie. Is it just me, or is it getting crazier out there? Because that's all. Jesus Christ! It's like Mad Max. It's hard to know who was more insane, me or everyone else. Yeah.
Because the mental health issue thing is the only thing I feel is actually still present in the sequel now.
Yeah.
And is vaguely touched upon how, the lawyer is the main
force behind
that part, obviously being like, you're mentally ill. Obviously, you're not sane. You should not be treated this way. You should have actual medical help.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, of course, if a person has mental issues causing them to do harm to others, it's still a medical issue. It's not just to imprison them. Like, that doesn't help anyone.
No.
Unfortunately, that's kind of in the background. So it doesn't take center stage, which wouldn't be an interesting movie, so I get it. Instead, we have Lee, who manipulates him and uses the fact that he is mentally unstable to recreate the Joker, I guess, or bring him forth again.
Yeah, and that kind of, like I said, that kind of ties into that whole thing where it feels like Todd Phillips is, going back on his ideas from the first movie, and like, shit, people took it the wrong way, sort of. Partly in killing Arthur in the end, like getting rid of this. Like now you can't idolize him anymore because I killed him off.
Yeah.
But also, and that kind of ties into that. I read Kino Corner's take on it. Great YouTuber, I mentioned him before. Check him out, Kino Corner on YouTube. He said, like jokingly, that watching Todd Phillips like explain why he now doesn't like the Joker would be more fun than watching this movie. And I was like, makes sense, because that's kind of what he's doing with this. He's, like we said, because he's going back on everything he wanted to talk about in the first movie. And to the point where he literally kills his protagonist in the end.
I'm a little bit afraid, though, about the end. Because half of this movie feels like it's not just Todd Phillips wanting to make the movie. It's the producers and the companies behind it.
Point we should get into. Yeah.
Yeah. They obviously wanted a sequel because money.
Yeah. Now, but before we get into that completely, I want to know if Todd Phillips ever said that he wanted to make a sequel.
A sequel.
If there's any like time he mentioned that. No, the only thing I remember is when he said like, we like 2 years ago. This feels like it was probably delayed a little bit because of COVID. Because he talked about how this movie takes place 2 years after the first one, when it's actually been 5 years since the last one. Like, there's no reason for this to take place not 5 years later. So I don't know. It feels like this was actually it was. And he says, exactly. Todd Phillips confirmed on June 7th, 2022, that the film's initial script is completed. So they would probably be finished sometime in 2022 with the script, and maybe release it in 2023, or maybe even 2022. Yeah. And that, Joaquin Phoenix had finished reading the screenplay and everything. But yes, it does feel, and I've seen stuff online, not saying that this is what they're saying, but people speculating. Thank you. Exactly, speculating. The worst thing you can do. Yeah, speculating that this in some ways ties into the Batman, the Pattinson Batman movies. Yeah, which the next one is coming next year, I think.
I think so.
And it's like, they're gonna. And I remember when I read that, it's like, so what? So they're gonna have Arthur Fleck be the Joker in that? Maybe not bring back Joaquin Phoenix, because I know he doesn't like do stuff like that. But
he doesn't like doing sequels, as far as I'm concerned, because he's never done one before. I think.
But having the character come back, and it's like, but then he's gonna be super old. He's gonna be like in his 60s, maybe even 70s, as the Joker. And I was like, and they also had that deleted scene, which is canon though, because they released it like online. Warner Brothers did, of Barry Keoghan playing the Joker in the first Batman movie, the Matt Reeves Batman movie.
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. So like, okay, so what's the point here? And then of course they kill Arthur, so now he doesn't have to be part of the new DCU whatever. And we have that younger guy who is laughing and he's crazy and kills people and cuts his face. Now they have a Joker!
My theory is that the Joker is still a symbol. He's not going to be that one person. He's going to be the symbol of the uprising of the people or whatever. But they're going to be people who portray him, copycats. Which could be Barry Keoghan and also this new dude, whoever he is.
But this guy, because this takes place
Heath Ledger lookalike.
This movie takes place in 1982 or 3. That would still make him like 50 years old when Batman 2 comes out.
Yeah, so that's why Barry Keoghan takes over, because he's another person just copying the Joker.
You know what that sounds like, Rebecca? That sounds like fanfic garbage. The Joker is actually more of a symbol. No, the Joker is a person. He's a character.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't make the Joker out to be a symbol in these movies, even though he didn't want to be.
Yeah.
So maybe they're gonna run with that.
But he wasn't the symbol in the last Batman movie, so why would he be one now in the next one?
Because that wasn't focused on him by then. So
that's no. If anything, I think it's a. If this is what it is, then that the producer said, like, you're gonna have to make another Joker movie where we get rid of your Joker because that's not the Joker we want in our movies.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like, and that's why he kills him in the end. Also because of all the things, when he felt,
wants to
but
kill the franchise, basically.
And I think it's just like it's both canon and not canon that other guy is the Barry Keoghan Joker in the next movie. It's just like
this could also just be an isolated universe. It has nothing to do with anything else. That is the truth.
Of course, but that's what I meant by saying it's both canon and non-canon. It's like this movie doesn't count, but since we kill Arthur in this, and we see that there's another Joker now because the guy who killed him is the Joker now, then no one, even when they start doing like fan fiction or fan theories, they can say like, well, the Joker is young because Arthur was killed by that young guy, and that could be him. It's almost like they prepared it for sweaty bearded guys theorizing about the Joker and Batman and Robert Pattinson, and it's just like, this shouldn't be in your quote unquote like adult drama. Like, what is this garbage? And it's just horrible. Yeah, the movie far from perfect, but that ending, we talked about that. It sometimes feels like an ending can like ruin a movie.
Oh yeah,
I almost want to say this ending does that, but we discussed, I don't want to say that because I did like a lot of the movie in the beginning. Now,
I liked the ending up until the part where we blurrily see the man in the background cutting his cheeks. If we didn't have that, I would have liked. No, I don't know. I like that they kill Arthur. I think it's a cathartic way almost to like end this. But
not when he is already kind of come to terms with who he is. He's kind of like he's ready to like be Arthur now. Be Arthur. And then it feels like he'll take his punishment, but him being stabbed in Arkham is not the proper punishment. I would have liked to seen a happy ending for him.
I don't think I don't think the character needed a happy ending. I think either he would have been, honestly, the best ending would have been him in the electric chair.
Yes, I would rather see that. Because that would have been,
as long as he dies.
That would have been a proper punctuation, because then you could see him like accept it.
Yeah, sure.
Here he was still, he was sad because everyone, and you could have had maybe, he got to talk to whatever. Harleen comes back and like she's there when he dies, and you see her with a little baby bump, and he's like, well, at least
I think the baby was a lie though.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. That was also another thing.
She never answered that question. That's the one question she.
Yeah, but that was also why I was thinking: is that how they're gonna like introduce the next Joker?
That's the baby.
Yeah. Well, he grows up. That would have been kind of perfect age for a new Joker.
I'm not even entirely sure that they had sex. If that scene actually like happened, if that was in his mind.
No, of course. What?
How did she get in there? He was in isolation.
Well, she's a lady. She can just talk her way into stuff. Also,
yeah, and I mean, turns out she was rich, so she probably just paid everyone.
Yeah,
off.
She was there voluntarily. She discarded herself. Whatever you call it when you write yourself out of the place. No, that was not a dream.
Discharged.
Discharged and discarded. Yeah, discharged herself. Yeah.
I was really unsure when that scene came on. I was like,
yeah, because she just
real?
appears in his cell. I know.
This is very strange, but it didn't have the same flash and color as all these other dream sequences. Sense. So I was like, this is weird.
I don't think that's supposed to be, because there's a very clear delineation between real life and fantasy in this movie, I think.
For the most part.
Yeah,
yes.
It's always, whenever it's a dream, it's a song. Some of the songs are sung in the dreary real world, so to speak.
Yeah.
But they're still, they still cut back to him, like, thinking about singing that. Like, in the first time when he watches the TV.
So when they escape during the movie night, and they sing and dance in the rain... Do they actually sing and dance in the rain?
Then they actually do it, and that's why he says, "Why are you singing? Stop singing," because then it's actually happening. Yes.
Okay.
And there's not a cut to them starting to sing. It's just them running away, and then they're sitting there trying to hide from the strobe lights, and then she starts singing.
That's true.
All the dream sequences are a clear cut to dream sequence. Yeah. I think, So I don't think we're gonna question that. Whether or not she was pregnant, yes, she could have just lied. Whatever.
She probably.
But still, like, imagine him sitting there, like, I'm all sad, I'm gonna die, but at least Arthur is in control now. Joker is gone.
Yeah.
And then he sees her, and maybe he smiles, because that's his thing.
Maybe he gets to tell a joke, the last thing he gets to do or something.
Just smile. Or that would be super, it would be so cheesy. He says, because like his last words, any last words, and he says, knock, knock, nobody answers, but then she's like, who's there? And he says, Arthur, and then, that would have been...
Honestly, that would be kind of good.
Yes! because you see her like, and then... and we see him burn up. Yeah, because then Arthur is sort of redeemed because he gets his punishment. And we also know that Joker was not who he was. He was Arthur.
Yeah.
And Arthur didn't hurt people. Like Gary Puddle says, Arthur didn't hurt people. But you hurt people. It's this other thing, yeah. Which also then, and we would have Catherine Keener is like, you see, you're killing Arthur. You're not killing Joker. It would be a very bittersweet but more satisfying ending than him walking like, someone's here to meet me before my execution. Oh no, we're just gonna stab you to death, and the guy going and cut his face open.
I did really like the joke though. I thought the joke was really
fun, yeah.
on point.
It worked. It's like,
it was perfect. Almost.
You can buy me anything you want. Well, and I'll get you what you fucking deserve. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
it was a nice callback to the last one. And once again, if you want to see this as Todd Phillips saying that, you see, you're idolizing the wrong person here, because remember what the guy who shoots Thomas and Martha Wayne says? He says, this is what you fucking deserve. And that's kind of what creates the Batman, so to speak. Yeah. And once again, someone uses his words against him and kills him saying this is what you fucking deserve. The Joker ruined everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
for everyone.
And maybe that's what Todd Phillips was trying to say. I'm sorry I made the Joker. It ruined everything.
Sorry, it turned out the way you saw it.
Yeah. He did a Mr. Plinkett and said, most people are dumb.
Yeah. It's like, I have to backtrack and explain and kind of apologize and just go, leave my character alone, thank you very much. But
then, just like the first movie was, when it came to all that stuff, a little bit on the nose, a little bit ham-fisted. This one was even more than, especially with that ending. And also, didn't feel as inspired. No.
But and that's what I meant with Joaquin Phoenix's character, or his acting not feeling as inspired, because the character wasn't as inspired.
Yeah.
The writing, like the character of Arthur or the Joker, since the Joker wasn't really a character in this movie. He was just there for a few moments.
Yeah.
It was mainly Arthur trying to, like with the laugh, he was trying to recreate.
Well, the laugh is his actual mental illness, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but in this movie, he didn't do it, and he
did.
practiced
when he's
almost.
Laughing he's standing in the rain when they have him out in the rain, and he's laughing.
Yeah, but that's like the only.
And
time.
it almost looks like he's crying.
Car,
that's the whole thing,
In the police car, it's like he was trying to force the laughter out, but he couldn't anymore. Like he wasn't there.
Okay, I didn't really, because in the first movie, there once again you can hear when he's fake laughing, because that's when he does the ha 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 laugh.
Yeah.
And then when he's actually laughing, but not really, it's his illness. That's when he does the and he can't stop.
Yeah.
And he always did that. Also, he never did the fake laugh in this.
Exactly, but he also always did that real laughter when he was on the medication. He stops taking the medication about halfway through this movie. And after that, he never does the maniacal laughter.
Well,
he only tries to do it in the police car going to the trial, but by then he stopped taking the pills for several days. So he's...
Well, then...
I'm thinking that's like a
then
side effect to the pills.
I don't know. Okay, once again, I don't see it that way. He would never fake his real illness. I don't know why he would do that.
No, but I don't think the laughter is his real illness.
Yes, it is. That's literally his thing in the first movie. That he laughs when he's nervous. And it's a real thing. It's called les folie. You laugh, not just when you're nervous. You laugh, the brain just snaps and you start laughing and you can't stop. That's a thing.
Then why didn't he laugh more in this movie?
Because he was
nervous in the courtroom.
Because he was medicated.
But he wasn't. He stopped taking his pills.
Yeah, like halfway through the movie.
But like in the courtroom, he never laughed, even though we saw him get nervous.
Well, he starts laughing and then when he gets nervous. He doesn't have an outbreak, but he's holding it back.
He wasn't able to do that in the first movie.
No, because he didn't have to. I don't know what you're getting at. What's the point?
I don't know.
What's the point of him faking the laughter? What's the point of that in this movie?
To try and seem more insane again.
Why would he want to seem insane?
Because his lawyer wants him. Because his lawyer is telling him to plead insanity, basically.
Okay.
And instead, he decides to not and fires her.
I didn't see it that way.
Oh, okay.
Because she also doesn't want him to smoke because that makes him look nonchalant. So then I don't think she would say, "So please do your crazy laughter, Joker guy." That would really win the crowd over. Like, no.
No. I just don't understand why he didn't laugh more in this movie.
He laughs.
Like 2 times.
So what? I don't understand what you mean.
It was a big thing in the first movie. He laughed a lot.
Yeah, but
that's part of the Joker bit, in my opinion.
Okay, but there's no point in him laughing in this movie.
No, I guess not.
He laughs a bunch of times. I don't understand. He laughs in the police car because he's nervous.
Yeah, but that's fake.
Why is that fake?
Because you can tell that he's like forcing it, and then he stops, like, it doesn't sound right, and then he's trying again.
No, that's him trying to hold it back, just like in the bus in the first movie. He's like, and he tries to stop, but he's nervous since he's going to court. Like, they're gonna seal my fate here. And then he's super sad in the rain, and that's why he's laughing, but it looks like he's crying.
Well, yeah, that one I meant. That one is...
So he's not faking it there, but he's faking it before. And why wouldn't he then try to do the ha-ha fake laugh from the first movie?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't see it.
We're not getting anywhere with this, so moving on.
I don't see it as him faking it. That would be weird.
Okay.
Where are we?
I don't know.
58 minutes. We'll cut it.
Let's wrap this up, because I don't even know.
Yeah, you got stuck on the him fake laughing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it bothered me. It bothered me to bits.
Okay.
It did.
But I don't see that. There should be... we had a fake laugh in the first movie. Why wouldn't he use his fake laugh in this movie then?
I don't know. I don't know why he didn't. He didn't do the fake laugh. He didn't do the nervous laugh often enough. It wasn't enough laughing in general.
But him laughing nervously in this didn't fill any purpose. I don't know, there's no point to it.
But he should... What do you mean? There was no point to it in the first movie either at certain points. It was just him laughing because he was nervous. As if he wasn't nervous around the guards in the beginning of the movie.
No, because he had been living with them for 2 years. Why would he be nervous around them? The first time he was nervous was when he was going to court, and that's when he laughed. And then when he was sad
the same.
Then when he was sad when he thought that Harley was lying to him, he was crying in the rain, but he was laughing. When he couldn't control his emotions, that's when he laughed. That's the whole point. Why he didn't laugh then around? Oh, he was nervous around Harley. Well, that was a good emotion. Having him laugh, that would just ruin those scenes. They used it more sparingly, sure, but they used it when it was not necessary. When it was appropriate.
Point to it, yeah, appropriate, yeah.
That's what I think.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
You're not gonna convince me.
You're wrong, but fine.
Yeah, let's agree to disagree.
I guess. All right. I didn't even think of that. He laughed too little. That was the thing. That was a problem for you. That was why I found a little weird. Either way,
thought it was strange.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of things that didn't really work in this movie. So yeah, I guess it just adds.
You know what
to
the biggest weirdest thing for me was the explosion. It felt really displaced and like a cop out.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
it's like they didn't know where to
go.
So they were like, "Oh, let's just blow the place up." He's closest to the explosion, but he'll take less damage than anyone else.
Yeah, that they could have, because he ends up back in Arkham anyway.
Yeah.
The only reason is that he finds Harleen and can talk to her because she's not coming back to the prison.
Yeah.
So is that the only reason they have that in there? And to have him
it's the closure.
do a run scene just like in the beginning of the first movie because he runs funny? I don't know. That's one of those.
It looked like they copied the specificities of that scene as well, because the guy
feels like in
hit
the
by
same
the car.
street. Yeah.
And he got hit in the same side basically and flew the same way, and there was one guy who managed to run around it and keep running. Like,
and
you're doing the same scene again.
And you could completely remove that scene by doing my ending or our ending, where he gets his verdict and they say yes, you will, and now your punishment will be whatever. We will fry you on this date in 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, go back to Arkham in the meantime.
And he's like, oh, and he comes back, and all the guards hate him again, and everyone's laughing at him. But then he's like, oh, but we need to have the closure with Harleen. Yeah. He doesn't get to talk to her until he sits in the chair, and then she walks in there, and he's like, oh, she did come back. And he says, knock knock. She says, who's there? And he says,
also
Arthur. And then you fry him.
That would have made the movie a bit shorter, probably.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have an unnecessary explosion. Was that just there for the posters or trailers? I mean, or
might be.
They're like, we got to show there's something exciting going on.
Another thing they could have removed is his little friend that he kisses in the beginning of the movie. Was it Rick?
Oh yeah,
or
Ricky.
Something?
Yeah.
What was the point of him?
I don't know.
Because it would have almost made sense if he was the guy who ended up killing him.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. That he's like, you're my number
hero.
one. You're my hero, Arthur. I love you.
I want to be just like you.
Yeah.
And he says sometime in the first movie that Murray is his hero, or he looks up to him.
Yeah.
So that would be the same thing then, because you killed your hero, I'm gonna kill mine.
Yeah. And that
but no, they had two different.
Because and he's very innocent feeling in the beginning, like how the guards mess with him, and he's their like little lapdog, because he's when everyone has to go in, he's like, Ricky, get the people together. He's like, all right, single file. And then throughout the movie, he becomes more and more, I'm gonna help you, Arthur. I'm gonna help you, Joker. And in the end, then you ruined,
because he's the one who initiates the singing in the canteen.
Yeah. And then it's gonna be, you ruined everything, Arthur. And I'm gonna stab you now, and I'm gonna go crazy.
Instead, they choke him off screen and kill him.
Yeah, which is just.
What was the point of that?
Well, just to show once again that Joker just gets people killed. I think that's how I interpreted it. Yeah, so this was
okay. Then what was the point of the off-screen supposed sexual abuse scene?
Wait, who gets sexually abused?
Arthur.
Oh, in the shower?
By the guards in the shower. Based on the bruises on his thighs afterwards, I'd say there was some abuse going on.
Maybe, I don't know.
Of the sexual kind.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, that's just because Todd Phillips wanted to punish Arthur.
Possibly. I mean, he does get to have sex with Lee afterwards, so
yeah.
I don't know if that's punishment and reward or something.
Ugh.
Because that's when they throw him into the...
Gross, Rebecca, gross.
I know. That's when they throw him into isolation, and then she turns up, and it's happy ending, I guess, after 2 seconds. That is the most awkward sex scene in a movie I've ever seen.
But I thought that you couldn't have made it like a romantic or
No, God,
anything.
no.
It had to be, because that's exactly how it would have been in real life.
Oh yeah, no. It would.
I'm
not saying it's a bad thing. I just said it's the most awkward scene I've ever seen.
It was the best sex scene I've ever seen in a movie. Because it was the most realistic one. It's just
sure, but it was still awkward. Like fuck.
No talking, very dimly lit, and it's like over in 30 seconds because the guy don't know what to do. It's like
I mean, at least they put in that detail of him actually going like, I don't know what to do.
Yes,
you do it.
That too.
That was a nice touch.
Because they point out that he's probably a virgin if you don't count the child rape, of course. But he's never had consensual sex.
Exactly.
And now he's gonna do it. He doesn't know what to do. She's like, "Could you do it?" At first, like, put on a condom. He's like, "Oh no, okay." And I was like,
"No, he just doesn't know which where to go."
And I was like, "Arthur, I can relate." Anyway, yeah. Not.
See, there's a lot of things in this movie that were both bad and good.
Yes.
Scenes that are cringe and uncomfortable and weird still end up being good in a way.
Yeah.
I like the ending even though I hate it.
I don't like the ending at all. I think it's just bad. The point of killing him, yes, but it was done completely the wrong way.
I think it was fine.
No.
There were details that could have been changed, obviously.
What was fine about it? Him unceremoniously being stabbed to death by a crazy...
kind of, because because it reflected that he was just Arthur. He was not an important person. He wasn't important enough to have
then it's still
a big death.
But then it's still the
glorious or even like he didn't deserve to be forgiven, I guess. Or whatever word you used before.
Yeah, but what?
Redeemed.
But why doesn't he deserve to be redeemed?
Because he was still a bad guy.
No,
still did the bad stuff.
But that's the wrong read as well. Because he obviously was like mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Like he did awful things, but
he did it because of what happened to him as a child, which turned him into being mentally unstable and ill.
Yes. And the right thing is then not to... Yeah, the right thing would have been to give him proper care.
Medical treatment.
Yeah. Yes. But if you're going to execute him, don't have him get stabbed by a creation of the Joker. This guy was created by the Joker. That's why he says you get what you fucking deserve, and then carve the Joker smile into his face. Because that was the whole point. Like, that's what Arthur... He didn't want that to be anymore. That's why he said, I'm not Joker, I'm Arthur, he says.
Well, yeah.
So it's...
But I think it was
still
poetic.
But poetic in a negative way. And the whole thing was leading up to them ending it on a quote-unquote positive note. And then to just just slap the audience in the face like, no, fuck you. We're gonna stab him in a filthy hallway and create a new Joker. Like, what is the message Joker you're trying to send there? Is what I'm trying to get to. What is the point of that?
That you shouldn't idolize people.
Nothing that he tried to do mattered. Either in trying to rectify his mistakes, and that people still worship a psychopath as something positive. We achieved nothing then. No understanding.
Maybe that was the thing then.
That
it's pointless.
That's awfully nihilistic. And
yes.
Following up our last episode was with Megalopolis. I just don't appreciate that. It's too edgy, dark. Like there's nothing to contemplate there. It's just no, everything was just bad. It's fake deep. It's fake complex.
Probably.
Like I guess most of this movie, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a bad ending. You still could have. You still could have killed him, but in a better way. And especially not introducing a new fucking Joker.
Yeah, no, that part is still terrible and stupid and so unnecessary. We did not need to introduce a second Joker or a new character in that sense. That was dumb. No, it should have been whoever, like Faceless, whatever. We didn't need the copycat or the Heath Ledger wannabe.
It should have been an executioner with the electric chair. Yeah, exactly.
It could have just been anyone.
Whatever.
We've also said that you're allowed to think differently of movies.
Yeah, sure. I just fundamentally disagree with you on that was in any way a good ending. It's an awful ending.
That's fine.
Awful ending. That almost
your opinion.
Almost ruined the movie. Anyway,
Sure.
That's gonna have to be it. Now we drag this out a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. It's a bummer. I really looked forward to this. I'm really hoping that we're gonna follow it up, do something good, and then, leave it alone after this. Yeah, the studio demanded a sequel. We'll give them a sequel, and that's it. But nah, it just that ship sank completely.
Yeah.
It didn't get to go off into the sunset. Awful. So now I'm thinking about it, maybe they just did fucking ruin everything. Yeah, fuck this movie. Fuck.
What would you score it? Did you score
it
on
a
Letterboxd
3
yet?
because, I did like parts of it, but now, what is... all the technical aspects, they don't weigh up. Yeah.
No.
The dumb fucking script. And Todd Phillips, who was really sticking to his guns about, edgy comedy. You can't make jokes anymore, so I'm making a dark comedy. That was his whole point. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to kill off my creation because I was wrong, I suppose. Here.
Because it didn't go the way he wanted it, so he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just kill it instead.
Well, yeah, and he pandered. No, he didn't pander. He reverse pandered or something. I don't know. He's dumb. Yeah, go back to comedies, Todd. You hack fuck. Anyway, There it is. Thank you for listening. We're going to have a little bit of a retro review this week on Patreon, where we are going to talk about the original Joker. Because, we didn't... technically...
We never actually did an episode on it.
Yeah, exactly. We're still making my video reviews of those back then. So we're going to talk about
and
the
also,
Joker.
This is the beginning of our October, our clown month.
Yeah, the clown season. So next week we're doing Hell House.
Right.
Hell House LLC, and the patron for that is going to be the Hell House sequels. There are 3 of them,
Yes.
I think.
Gonna have to watch a lot of movies.
Yeah. But that's for later. And until then, have a good one. Bye. The Spoilercast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén and hosted by Tobias and Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Mom, Dad, Christopher Belén, Daniel Del Gaiso, Mac and Mom, Laura Kinney, and CK85.